We set out to design a stealthy electric bike, one so sexy you couldn't tell it's electric.
Good evening, everybody. You're very welcome along to the second round of the Digital-Motorsports Porsche Cayman Cup presented by Porsche Centre Dublin. A great opening round last week and a brilliant finish, as we always like in the Digital-Motorsports Championship. We're here at Donington Park in the UK, in Castle Donington, classic UK circuit. We were here last time and we're back again. My name is Jack Canan, alongside me is Sam Fitzpatrick, and I missed last week, unfortunately, but Sam, there was a brilliant battle at the end between Oscar Mangan and Craig Breen for the winning race too. Hopefully we can get that again today.
Absolutely, one of the best battles I've ever seen. It was absolutely superb. Breen, it looked like it was only a matter of time till he was going to be overtaken. Mangan perhaps was a little bit cautious, and he did regret it afterwards. But Breen did an awesome job, especially for a rally driver when you don't race other drivers in rallying, which is quite remarkable from Breen. So really well done to him last time out. However, Mangan was certainly the man to beat, and so far in this qualifying session as well, he is the man to beat. He was consistently over half a second a lap faster than everyone else. He's really suited this GT4 car very well. Hopefully, we're going to have some good challenges for him for the race win tonight.
Yeah, looking good so far for Oscar, and Adrian Camfield sitting nicely in second. Of course, we do have the split in the field as well between the Pro and the Pro-Am. So the Pro are in red and the Pro-Am are in blue. So you have now Jordan Kelly going fastest, Oscar Mangan, then Adrian Camfield, Kondelis, Marchenkovas, Craig Breen is 6th, Rob Moore 7th, Arias Humantis in 8th place, then Ward and Wayne Douglas from McManus. And then Pat Masterson, Andrew Hopely, a couple of guys coming in the last couple of laps there. Oscar Mangan going quickest now. And then Jordan Kelly. Kondelis in the Pro-Am class. He's pole in the Pro-Am class, but is looking really good on pace with the Pro guys, which is quite impressive. And Tom Ingram as well. They'll be very familiar with the circuit from BTCC, of course. So we'll see if his experience manages to come back to help him here.
Yeah, it was a typical Ingram race, but every time we've seen Tom Ingram out in this series, he always starts way further down the order, and then gets his way up to the front, and then has something wrong near the end of the race. There is a podium though in Ingram. I would not be surprised if he gets a podium at all today, but he needs a good qualifying, and he's currently in 18th place, which will be a little bit disappointing for him. Here is on board with Peter McCann. Just trying to improve on this time at the moment. 10-minute qualifying session this, but they only get 3 laps that they can set, and once that 10 minutes runs out, then you're not allowed to complete your final lap. Malone now moves up into 7th place, and that is second out of the amateur drivers, so that is a strong lap being put in by him, as McCann has a little bit of a slide, but fantastic sweepers around this part of the circuit. Not easy to overtake, but a lot of fun to drive.
Yeah, actually, you can see how much he's working to keep it in a straight line. Peter here, just coming up to the back of the circuit now. Very easy to run wide out onto that curve on the outside line, then back up the hill here. We're for a tricky blind right-hander. We're using the GP layout, so we are using the back of the circuit with the chicane and the hairpin. So prime overtaking opportunity down here. Very high speed chicane down here. You can see the speeds are getting up to on the right-hand side there. 200 Ks, up to 210, up to 220, just as they get on the brakes. Chucks it in to the left and into the right, avoiding the bollards on the inside. Gets a little bit loose on the exit, keeps it in a straight line though. Then down to the hairpin, extremely tricky. It's downhill and it's much tighter than you think it is. Down to second gear, maybe a nip at first if you manage to get it a little bit wrong, but up the hill gets it perfect this time into the last corner, which again is extremely tricky because it's downhill. It goes away from you. The camber works against you here. Down the hill, then getting it turned in. Got to keep it tight to that. Got to have the carding line through there on the power early as possible, coming to the line. Good lap from Peter there as he comes across the line. Is that going to improve his lap, or where is he going to come in relation to everybody else? It doesn't look like it was an improvement for him, but nonetheless, I think it gives you a good idea of the challenges of this circuit, because there's plenty of camber working against you here, Sam.
Yeah, that final corner is so tricky. Just to pick the turn-in point, certainly if the judge's done enough practice, I'm sure they will be able to drive this circuit with their eyes closed, but certainly initially it is really difficult, as Barry Barrable, who I believe is a new driver to the series, and we believe he might be the father of Rob Barrable, but we're not certain on that. But we think they are related at least some way. Barry Barrable, though, having a spin. We've also got Wayne Douglas out on circuit and Tony Stack. However, they have both completed their 3 laps as the checker flag is out. And that is going to be the end of qualifying, and we'll very soon go through your race 1 grid.
Indeed, so Oscar Mangan continues his form, but look how close that gap was. Jordan Kelly, 0.06 of a second behind Oscar Mangan on the first row. Arturas Kundelis in third place, right behind Adrian Campbell, and that is pole position for the Pro-Am class as well. Brian McManus, then Valentinas Marchenkovas in sixth. Ian Malone in the Pro-Am, he's second in Pro-Am. Then Lewis Ward, Craig Breen, and Sergio Graben. Then Pasquale De Lucia, and then Rob Moore in 12th place, a second off. So quite spread out here. Andrew Hopefully, Arias Yamantis, Wayne Douglas, Pat Masterson, then Jess Martin 17th, Harry McGovern, Tom Ingram in 19th, Willie Pigeon in 20th, Keith Rabbit, Ronan Hederman, then Peter McCann, Adam Dowling 24th. Big grid again tonight with nearly 50 drivers here. Tony Stack, Simon Ramsar, Thomas Series, Kyle Stevens, Paolo Breme, Andro Perto, Mark Burney, Michael McCarthy, Dave Maguire, Diarmuid Toomey, Liam Atkins, then Jack Byrne 36th on the grid here. Jean Montero, Dennis Melchert, Gavin Colotti, Johnny McMullen, Owen Murray, Damien McMullen, Rory O'Shea, Dave Collier, Rob O'Neill, Evan Naylor, Nathan Healy, and James Wingfield, I think, is the last car on the grid as we get ready to go here in Donington for the second round of the first heat race. And away we go from the line. Bad start from Jordan Kelly. And away goes Oscar Mangan straight away. Arturas Kundelis straight up the inside. It's straight into second. Was heading towards turn one. It's a good start from Mangan. A fantastic start from Mangan. He leads into turn one. And they all file through single file here. All looking good so far from Mangan. Kundelis, Kelly, Campfield, McManus up to 5th. Marchenkovas, Ward, Malone, Breen, and Sergio Graben into 10th place now as they head down the hill. Well, it's a fantastic start, but a very bad getaway for Jordan Kelly. He's had an absolute disaster off the line.
Yeah, so poor start for K straight away, and now he's off the circuit, and he's going to spin back onto the track. Fortunately for him, he spins off the circuit, so that was a big one for him. And Marcin Kovas as well from the lead of the amateur drivers, or certainly from pretty near the front of the amateur drivers, spins round as well, so that's a shame for him. There was a big incident involving Ingram, I believe, and maybe Toomey or McGuire, or Douglas perhaps. I think it was Douglas and Ingram actually, who got together just on the run down to turn one, hit the pit wall, which has sent them out of the race. So we've got quite a few retirees so far, including Martin, that you can see at the top of the timing tower at the moment. Malone just having a spin as well, but good start for Mangan, and that was that turn one was his big worry, but it turns out that he's been able to extend his gap now.
Yeah, all looking good so far, but a fantastic start from Mangan. And Kundelis now leading the Pro-Am class, but he's also second overall at the same time. We look back at a little battle back here. Jack Byrne as he files through up the back of the circuit here. 23rd place, but it's after lap one. It is Mangan, it's Kundelis in second, then it's Campfield, McManus, Ward, Breen, Graben, De Lucia, and Yamantis as Dowling has to avoid Ramsire, who just comes up the inside there into the last corner, heading down towards turn one. And a nice move from Ramsar moves him up the order a little bit. They all file through nicely. Single file here, coming through the two VRA racing cars. Oh, a little bit wide there from Dowling, and that's Thomas Seary, going wide. And Adam Dowling says, thank you very much, I shall go through. Tony Stack goes through as well. But Thomas Seary's slotting in there in the middle. And then Kyle Stevens right up behind it there, down the hill, has a little look on the outside. But especially, we saw moves there in TCR, but it's really not possible. A little flash of the lights there from Kyle Stevens as he tries to make his way through. We saw moves there in TCR. It doesn't really work in these GT cars. They're so hard to get stopped. They're a lot heavier than the cars, of course, we drove last season.
You also just saw a spin for Yamantis. You would have seen him just by the bridge on the side of the circuit. So Yamantis, who was starting pretty high up the order, I think they're lining up on the grid in the top 10, but he has dropped way down the order. I think they have hit the wall as well. So unfortunately for him, yeah, down 21 places from 6th on the grid, also 14th on the grid for Yamantis, so big shame for him. Further up the front, so apologies that Martin is currently showing up at the top. That should fix itself pretty soon. We've got Mangan leading the way. Then it's Kundelis. Campfield, though, is hounding him right now. That's all the battle for second place. Kundelis really outperforming his amateur status. However, a poor exit from the final corner as we move on to lap 3 out of 12. The pink car should be able to move ahead of Adrian Campfield. Can he get the car stopped going into turn 1? Kind of swoop his way around the outside. There's nearly contact between the two of them, and I think they're going to still be side by side down the hill. And now it should be Kundelis with the advantage with the line. However, Campfield just about spurs his car ahead, and he moves up into second place. But that was hard earned.
Yeah, really nice move from Adrian Canfield. There's brought Brian McManus right into this now as we've got light on board with him now as they head up the hill. He's now going to try and get past Candelas here. He's got a little space on the inside, but can't quite find a little bit of space. He's got to watch out for Ward, who's right behind him as well. Oscar Mangan has checked out now. He's 4.4 seconds ahead of these guys because they're battling so hard. But it's Canfield. Candelas not letting go of the back end just yet. McManus looking quick behind. Ward is right up McManus' chuff as well as they head down. Look at that. He's almost touching him as they come down the back straight here. Ward really wants to get himself past here. As we look at McManus trying to get past Candelas as well. Into the chicane they come for the third time. Ward looking the quickest out of these guys. McManus with a better exit though. Candelas losing touch with Canfield now. So McManus has already maybe got to be thinking about lining up a move at the turn. When he has a little look to the inside, into the hairpin here, thinks about it, trying to put Candelas off. Might have put himself offline there was Lewis Ward, now tries to get an exit on him up the hill, but it looks like he's going to hold on for now. But I think McManus has really got to try and make some progress here because by the looks of it, he's got the pace over Candelas, so ideally he needs to get onto the back of Adrian Canfield's a problem for Simon Ramsire in the hairpin. He spun it around, got it back going again. But no harm done by the looks of it. He's got it back going again. Look at a move here. Tony Stack and Peter McCann and Perzo going through up the inside as well. So that'll be, yeah, Perzo up the inside now. Stack losing positions as Perzo looks to the inside. Can he get it stopped on the inside? Yes, he can. And Perzo drops behind. That was Tony Stack on the inside. So now Perzo trying to come back, but Peter McCann makes up a position and looks like McManus has got Candelas and Ward too, so they slot up third and fourth. McManus and Ward. Candelas drops back to fifth. That's ideal. That's exactly what McManus wanted now. I think Ward really needs to work with McManus now to try and catch up to Campfield.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, but Candelas dropping down to fifth place. I mean, this is still, at the moment, the amateur win, or the pro-am win, which would be good for him. As you can see, they are catching up behind as well. McManus got about a second and a half, hasn't he? 1.1 seconds up to Adrian Canfield. Yeah, absolutely had to nail it, but at the moment, Oscar Mangan 1 second faster than pretty much everyone else. Andrew Hopley's lapping well at the moment in 8th place. So if these guys aren't careful in this battle for the podium, they are going to be caught by the end of the event. But there's such a spread in the opening couple of laps of this race. It's kind of really affected the drivers in the midfield at their chances. Further back, there's a really good battle behind Marcin Kovacs in 22nd place. Sorry, he's got a long queue behind it of McMullen and Bernie, Malone and Stevens and several others. In fact, it's a little bit of side by side as well, with Collier getting past O'Shea. I think Collier might have the upper hand going into the next corner. And yeah, just moving ahead. Apologies, that was O'Shea. Moving up into 28th place, up 15 places as well for O'Shea. Very good job.
Yeah, really nice job from O'Shea, and all looking good so far. As we now look back at Marchenkovic with Liam Atkins, who's just having a battle. He's having a battle with him now to head down the back of the circuit here as they come down the S's here. Really tricky, really high speed part of the circuit. See if Marchenkovic can make his way past Atkins now. Atkins, I think, just made his way past not too long ago, but Marchenkovic needs to get past now. This is the battle Pro-Am and Pro, so it's not really for position, it's for overall position, but not within the classes. So they won't change positions in the classes. Very late on the brakes for Marchenkovic there. They enter the back of the circuit. Now he's got to run them up the hill, looks to the inside. Will he get it done on the inside? He's got the space. Should be able to get it done on the brakes. Marchenkovic up the inside. But again, Atkins hangs it around the outside. He's got the speed on the outside too. So they're still neck and neck. Marchenkovic, has he got enough to just drag Atkins down to the chicane here? Should be able to, and does move ahead. Marchenkovic, a nice move. Better run out at the exit of the corner before the hill, and he gets himself up into a 21st place now, and a upper position in the pro class as well. So good moves, but now he's latched onto the back of the train of Paolo Breme and Daniel Melcher as well. So there's a bit of he's latching himself onto this battle as well. Interestingly enough, Ward was the fastest out of the top four, fastest lap of the race for Lewis Ward in 4th place. McManus 3rd, Campfield 2nd, and Mangan 1st. But we look back at Dennis Melcher, who is under pressure from Paolo Breme. This is for overall position, not in-class position. Let's see what he can do, if Melcher can get this done. Or Breme trying to come around the outside. Marchenkovic is now in this one as well as they head back down the first chicane here. and heading down the hill for the 6th time, halfway through this heat race. I remember the second race is a reverse grid as well. The top 20 will get reversed as now Brian had very late on the brakes. He really wants to get past here. It looks like got the pace. Look at the little twitch on the exit though. You see he was just trying to hang on to the car there as Marchenkovic now has a little run on him as they head up the hill for the 6th time. I don't think he's going to be able to get through there, but it's very easy, Sam, to lose the car through there because it's an off-camber downhill corner. How bad can it be?
Yeah, exactly. That's the worst combination. I think Hamilton would be licking his lips at that combination. Marchenkovic, though, this would be for the reverse grid pole position. Of course, top 20 will be reverse car race 2 with the pace that he's currently delivering. I think he'd be pretty good for a podium perhaps in race 2. He needs to get past Paolo Grima. He's a strong driver. He's been getting plenty of experience on iRacing in the last couple of months. However, Valentinas, I think, going down the inside. Grima is deep on the brakes. Now that can work. It's a very unique hairpin here where it's almost a double apex. It is double apex. And Grima always coming across. He must have got the message from his spotter that you're clear. But there was barely a centimetre between the two of them. But Marchenkovic then through up into 20th. And next up will be Dennis Melchert. 19 places as well as Melchert, the most places gained of anyone in the, of anyone. I think that is the record out of all the drivers out on the circuit. So mighty effort from the German. However, here comes Marchenkovic back down the inside. Now, we didn't see this move work earlier on. Usually the driver around this left-hander has the advantage because you understeer outwards. That is what Melchert is going to do. Oh. And now Marchenkovic gets on the grass. He sticks his nose back down the inside and there's very nearly contact, and he's lucky not to make contact there. And that was perhaps a little bit rushed there for Valentinas, and he gets set back. Now Grima and Atkins have caught back up to these two.
Yes, indeed. So the battle rages on, but Melchert doing an excellent job hanging on. He's made some great positions. Paolo Grima now trying to make his way back past Marchenkovic. Marchenkovic trying again to get past Dennis Melchert. As now he gets the exit. He's got a decent one as they come down to the chicane for the 7th time in the slipstream. Can Marchenkovic get this done? Melchert defends the inside and he'll come back across. Is Marchenkovic going to have a think about down the inside? He backs up. You hear him lifting very late on the brakes, trying to force Melchert wide. And I think that sort of worked because he got a better exit out of the chicane, heading down to the hairpin for the 8th time. Is he going to have a pop on the brakes? Or is he going to go late on the brakes? He thinks about it. And Melchert goes a little bit deeper, holds the karting line. There's not much Marchenkovic can. He gets a very nice over and under on him there, but again he gets the better exit, does Melchert there. Marchenkovic has to hang behind. He's got to watch out for Paolo Grima, who's still right in there. This is a great battle for the lower positions, but this is only for 20th place, or 19th place, excuse me, but it's all important positions in their own classes. So Marchenkovic and Melchert are battling for pole position here. Let's see, Marchenkovic is he going to have to think about it here, but he really needs to make a move soon, because Melchert again wide again. Can Marchenkovic get the run? He's going to give him a squeeze into the grass, and Melchert still holds on as they come down the hill. And Marchenkovic, I think, getting a little bit frustrated behind the German here because it's very clear that Marchenkovic has got the pace over him.
Yeah, I thought this was going to be comfortable for him, but Melchert's got a lot of experience. I think we've seen him in the BSR leagues before, in the ARL TC as well, Melchert. And he's using all that experience in the Kia, of course, mainly was all of that. As they've gotten off just behind them. Who was that? Was that Malone or Kelly? I'm not quite sure. Maybe it was back marking, I'm not sure. It seems like it was back marking because, yeah, they are still in 19th and 20th places. But I think Marchenkovic will get this eventually, but he's only got 4 more laps to go after this one. He has been held behind for 1.5 laps so far. He goes for the same move into the chicane. And the 3rd one does just pop his car ahead, but it's a slow exit for him. And now I fear for Melchert because he's got Grima. He's going to try to come back into the hairpin. Grima getting his nose ahead, and he's pretty strong on the brakes here, is Grima. But he hasn't got the pace on the outside power length, similar to what we saw against Marchenkovic earlier on. And now these two will battle hard for that reverse grip pole. Such a lot on the stake. You won't be starting qualifying race in first place rather than playing first place.
Yeah, now that's brought Liam Atkins into this one as well, as he's caught up to these guys in the midst of that battle. There is Liam Atkins. He lost positions earlier to Marchenkovic, but now since Marchenkovic has been caught up in this battle, Atkins has caught them again. So now we look as he heads through turn 1. Breme looking for a move. Melchert gets a twitch, does Atkins, and falls back now. And now Breme, right, he almost gets into the back of Melchert there as they're heading down the hill for the 9th time. Breme looking for his move. He needs to make a move because he's got the same pace, I think, as Marchenkovic. Goes a little bit wide through there now, trying to get it slowed down for the bottom of the hill, past the old bridge on the left-hand side, heading up the hill. And it's a half an hour race or 12 laps. We're definitely going to get to the 12 laps before the half an hour mark passes here. We look back now, Adrian Camfield in second place under severe pressure from Brian McManus as they head into the last chicane. They've got plenty of lap traffic to deal with now. That's James Wingfield, Jean Montero ahead of him there. And now I think that's going to be Wingfield moving out of the way, and he does move out of the way nicely for him there. But Camfield has been caught by McManus. McManus has been setting purple lap times, and he's caught him heading onto lap 10 of 12. Lewis Ward, has, as we said earlier, has been helping and using McManus to drag him up here as they all come across the line. McManus, Camfield a little bit quicker than the leader, but McManus the quickest out of anybody. Actually, Ward by a couple of hundredths was the quickest, and Cundelis lapping at the same pace in 5th place. He's leader of the Pro-Am class. But down the hill, Mangan is too far out ahead, but now Camfield is under severe danger of losing that second place.
Yeah, needs to keep this one very much in shape. This is tricky with the lap drivers. Remember, the drivers get a faster pair, so if you can kind of just limp your car around back to the pits, you can pick up the faster pair and carry on your day. I think the toe must be really short because we saw some drivers toe back to the pits earlier on, almost from turn 1, and yet they were the podium. But he will take this second place if there is a chance, but this is a notoriously difficult to overtake track. As Mangan takes the fastest lap of the race, 30.4.5. That is some 7/10 faster than all the drivers behind him on that last tour.
Yeah, Mangan is doing an excellent job out front. He's now 6.5 seconds clear out front. Here he is. He's had no problems at all this race. He's got 2 laps left to run. He's just coming down the bottom of the circuit now, and he nailed his start when Jordan Kelly didn't. And obviously Jordan was obviously involved in an incident or something, because he started second in the grid, all the way down in 23rd place now. After all of that, he had a terrible getaway, but Mangan has had no such problems. He's out in the lead of the heat race. Now remember, the top 20 are inverted, so at the moment Dennis Melcher is going to be on that reverse grid pole. We look at McManus now under pressure from Lewis Ward, so Ward has now really put the pressure on, because McManus has dropped 0.8 of a second off the back of Camfield. Now let's see what Ward can do down the back straight into the chicane. Is he going to be able to do anything? He has a think about looking to the inside, but backs off right there. Marchenkovic was the only one who made a move work there. He's going to look for the run into the hairpin if he can make this work. Down into the hairpin. He's having to think about it, moving his car to the inside, moves it back to the outside. He's going to have a think about it, looks on the brakes. McManus not leaving much to do there, and continue on their way, about to head onto the white flag lap here in the first heat race. It's Mangan from Camfield, McManus and Ward in the Pro class, and then Arturas Cundelis in the lead of the Pro-Am class. And Craig Breen in 6th, and it's Andrew Hopley, Pasquale De Lucia and Sergio Graben, and another fastest lap from Oscar Manga, another second quicker than the man behind, and takes another second out of everybody. 7.5 nearly now, as heading towards now. But now the battle for 3rd place in the Pro class continues as Lewis Ward tries to get on the podium against McManus, and I wonder, where is he going to make this move? He's been stuck behind him for a while. There's a car up ahead. That's Rob O'Neill, I think. Yeah, Rob O'Neill. And another car, that's Gavin Cullity, I think, as well. But now we continue with Lewis Ward trying his best to get past McManus, because Camfield has checked out. McManus now starting to struggle a little bit, as up the hill they come for the last time in the heat race. Who is going to get this one? Is Ward going to nip onto that podium? It's all important points, no matter what. So down the back straight for the final time in this heat race. Camfield 1.5 ahead. Ward 0.2 of a second off the back of Brian McManus. Down the back straight for the last time. Out front, no troubles whatsoever for Oscar Mangan as coming through the chicane. Now Ward, it's his last opportunity into the hairpin. He's got a good run. McManus has got to defend now. If he wants to hold on to this 3rd place, he's going to move to the inside, moves to the middle. Is Ward going to have a pop? He thinks about it, but McManus is later on the brakes, goes deep, holds the car's line. Great defense from Brian McManus right there. Smacks it on the apex and holds it, but round the last corner, no such problems. Oscar Mangan for the 2nd time, he wins the heat race here in Donington, and he will start from 20th on the grid for the feature. Adrian Camfield will come across in 2nd place. Another fast lap for Oscar Mangan. Adrian Campfield second. Brian McManus, brilliant defence into the last corner. He holds off Lewis Ward for third place. Arturas Candelas wins the Pro-Am in Heat 1, and Craig Breen in second. Andrew Hopefully and Pasquale De Lucia are your top three. But now, looking back at this one for 23rd place, Liam Atkins, Kyle Stevens and Ian Malone in the middle of this one. Malone finds some space on the inside, goes late on the brakes up the inside. Can he get it stopped? Yes, he can. Great move from Ian Malone up the inside to Kyle Stevens, gets it stopped. Managed to get it stopped on the rumble strip as well. Now let's see if we can get Atkins into the last. Atkins goes wide. Malone gonna have a think about it. There's a battle happening behind as well with Jordan Kelly trying to come up through as well. But now I think Stevens might get him back here, and he does. Stevens gets him just on the line as they came across there. Great little battle for 23rd. Kyle Stevens comes out ahead of Ian Malone, and a proper good racing there. Great job.
Yeah, and Atkins lost a couple of places, I think, on that last lap. Fell to a 22nd, means that Melcher finishes in 20th place. And I think he deserved that one, did Melcher, to drop in a couple of places, but did gain 18 places overall. And of course, we will also have Valentinas Martin Koves on second place on the front row of the grid, so that should be great. But Mangan, I mean, what can you say? It's hardly surprising. Not sure if that was more dominant than his display at Silverstone. It's quite difficult to compare lap times. This, of course, a much shorter lap, but I think his dominance was pretty much equal, and he was just getting faster and faster as the race went on, purple lap after purple lap. And he's going to be the favourite for race 2. He came ever so close to completing the double last week. I wonder if he can complete the double today.
Yeah, let's see if he can. But here's your Heat Race 1 results. Oscar Mangan by a margin of 7.1 seconds. Totally dominant display. He wins Heat Race 1. Adrian Canfield second, and Brian McManus third. Lewis Ward fourth. That is your Pro Class top 4. Then winner of Pro-Am, Arturas Candelas in 5th. Craig Breen 5th in Pro-Am, 6th overall. Andrew Hopefully. Pasquale De Lucia in 8th. Sergio Grabman and Rob Moore in 10th. Willie Pigeon, Harry McGovern, Pat Masterson, Adam Dowling, Ronan Hederman, Peter McCann, Angelo Perto, and then Tony Stack in 18th. As we look further down, then it's Valentinas Marchenkovic. Dennis Melcher will start from the pole alongside Marchenkovic. Paulo Breme just missing out. He tried his best to get past Melcher, but just was not able. Mark Burney, Liam Atkins and Kyle Stevens and Ian Malone. We saw the battle going to the line there. Jordan Kelly, terrible race for him. Possibly carrying some damage. And then Thomas Series, Johnny McMullen in 28th. And then Evan Naylor, Dave Maguire, Dave Collier, Michael McCarthy, Jack Byrne, Rory O'Shea, Damien McMullen, Arius Imantis, Keith Rabbit, Barry Barrable in 38th. And then further down, Gavin Cullity, João Monteiro, Jess Martin, Tom Ingram down in 42nd. Diarmuid Toomey, Rob O'Neill, Owen Murray, Simon Ramsire, James Wingfield, and the final classified runner is Wayne Douglas and Nathan Healy down the back in 49th and last. And looks like a DNF for him. And now we head into the 3-minute warm-up, and we always like to call it the cool-down because the drivers have just had a pretty intense race. But Oscar Mangan, Sam, I mean, this man looks like he's adapting to these cars perfectly, and he's putting on one hell of a display.
Yeah, exactly. I think he's been running in the Porsche support series. You got the World Championship, of course, in the Cup cars, and then they're also running a support series in the GT4 cars. I think he's been trying to get into the top splits of that, which is very tricky to do, especially seeing that the season only started a couple of weeks ago. So he's been putting in a lot of hours, so it's understandable why he's quite so fast. However, I believe this is a fixed setup still, so to have that much of an advantage is quite incredible, because this isn't a car that he's necessarily going to be particularly fond of. This fixed setup almost always frustrates 99% of the drivers. I think he's been able to drive around it and beat everyone in the exact same car. So been absolutely epic from him so far today. We wait to see what could happen in race 2. Of course, we've currently got this 3-minute warm-up for the it's a warm-up or cool down. I'm starting to use the term cool down. I think it's a further cool down for us commentators. However, it's very much 100 to 0, back to 100 again, because this race start is going to be very intense if it's anything like we saw in race 1.
Exactly. So I was just kind of pondering there. Oscar Mangan putting on a hell of a drive. You'd wonder how would the battle be if defending champion Keith Dempsey was back here racing him. I think it would be one hell of a battle between the two of them, because they seem to be on extremely similar pace. But It's going to be great. If you're watching on the iRacing Esports Network, make sure to subscribe. Make sure to subscribe to Apex Racing TV as well. You're watching the Digital-Motorsports.com Porsche Cayman Cup, sponsored by Porsche Centre Dublin. Now, Dennis Melcher on the pole for this one. Valentinas Marchenkovic, Tony Stack will start from third, and that is the pole in the Pro-Am class. Andrew Perzo, Peter McCann, Ronan Haderman second in Pro-Am, Adam Dowling, Pat Masterson, Harry McGovern, Willie Pigeon, Rob Moore, Sergey Grabin in 12th. And then further down, Pasquale De Lucia, Andrew Hopley, Craig Breen, Arturus Candelas, and the guys to watch: Lewis Ward, Brian McManus, Adrian Canfield, and Oscar Mangan from 20th. What can he do from all the way down there? Paulo Bremen, Mark Burney, Liam Atkins, Kyle Stevens in 24th. And then Ian Malone, Jordan Kelly, Thomas Series, Johnny McMullen, Evan Naylor, Dave Maguire, Dave Collier, Michael McCarthy, Jack Byrne, Rory O'Shea, Damien McMullen, Arias Imantas in 36th. And then the last couple of finishers here: Keith Rabbit, Barry Barble, Gavin Cullity, Jan Montero, Jess Martin. And if you managed to read those, fair play. But here we go, the feature race in the second round of the Porsche Cayman Cup. And it's go. Good start, Melcher. Good start, Marchenkovic. Good start from Tony Stack as well from third place as they head towards turn one. Well, I think Marchenkovic's got a slightly better run heading towards turn one. He's looking to the outside already, heading towards turn one. Melcher holds it for now. Perzo moves to third up the inside. Tony Stack, Peter McCann, Haderman, Dowling. To now look back at Stack as he battles away here. And we look a massive pile up in the background. Liam Atkins involved. Campfield's involved. Oscar Mangan's off the road as well. He's involved. The championship leader's involved in this big one in turn number one. Didn't quite see what happened there, but Campfield drops down, Mangan drops down, and McManus comes out unscathed. He's in 14th place now, so this could be the door opening for McManus. Condelis makes it through, but an absolute disaster. Oh, there's even more carnage at the bottom of the hairpin as well. There's even more cars off. That looks like Rabbit Kelly's off the road. There's even more chaos. Yeah, that is Rob O'Neill off the road, and that looks like O'Shea as well. Yeah, loads involved there, but real massive disaster for Oscar Mangan, the championship leader, involved in the turn one accident. But after lap one, Melcher leads, Marchenkovic second, and Tony Stack third.
Yes, so massive change so far. Marchenkovic knows that the door is open for him now. He's got to be the favourite to win this race, surely, because the front runners haven't quite got their way up through the order as did Heidel. However, McManus now up to 9th place. Has been a mega start from him. Melcher, though, staying ahead, and actually Marchenkovic has he got a slowdown or something, dropping down into 4th place, staying ahead of McCann at least. But he really needs to take the lead in Marchenkovic, take the race by the scruff of the neck, but hasn't quite been able to do that, and he's down into 6th place. Disastrous for him. Right now, though, a couple of the drivers have gone back to the pits. We've also got a driver cutting the circuit seemingly, I think, trying to get back to the pit lane ASAP to pick up the fast pair. But Melcher, fast up of the race to start off this race. We've got McManus up 9 places. We've also got Maguire up 14 places, up into 16th position. Also got this tight battle as well. For second place, out of the amateur judge, we've got a big spin. Oh, well, it wasn't quite a spin in the end for Hopley, who I thought was absolutely gone right there. McManus has to stay behind. Now there's almost contact between the two. They're vastly different braking areas. Hopley's a very good driver, very experienced driver. I've commentated on him in the GT3 class in the sim race as well, a GT championship before. He's very competitive in that, and he will be a tough customer, I'm sure, for McManus to overtake. However, this race is really possible for McManus to win. Of course, with the domination so far this season from Oscar Mangan, you've got to capitalise on these couple of blips from him, and that's what he's trying to do.
Exactly, so Marchenkovic drops down to 4th, but the battle now, Tony Stack to 2nd, Andrew Perzo to 3rd. Let's see, Tony Stack's leading Pro-Am, and he's also now in with a shot of the overall lead, so a good job from him. But McManus has made great progress into 9th place, as we look now as Andrew Perzo following behind, as now Pat Masterson has just passed Peter McCann for 5th place. That is 2nd in Pro-Am. Good job there, and a little move. Marchenkovic has a little look on Perzo as they head through the last corner. Is he going to get the drive? Yes, he does. Marchenkovic into 3rd, but 2nd in the Pro class, and he's back on form now. But looks for Dennis Melcher still holds on to the lead here. Tony Stack, fast lap of the race. Let's see who's going to get it. Condelis gets it this time with the fast lap in 7th place and 3rd in the Pro-Am class. But a big shame for Oscar Mangan, with a big tangle involving Adrian Campfield as well. So the two guys nearly at the top of the championship, all the way down in the back of the field there. And now we look at Marchenkovic, and look how fast he caught them as well, coming into the chicane. He's got so much more speed. By the looks of Marchenkovic, he's in with a real shot here.
Yeah, you just think how much easier this race would have been if he'd taken the lead on the opening lap. Instead, he's made things quite complicated for himself after that slowdown on the opening, at the chicane on the opening lap. However, here he goes, going up the hill. Should be easy enough on the 81 car of Stack. He has no interest in this battle. And Marchenko is back up into where he started then. Now he's got to get past Melchert again. He needs to. He's gapping McManus at the moment. He's failing to make much progress, I predicted. Hopley not letting McManus go. So Marchenko needs to get past into the lead and then pull out a gap. These races aren't especially long, though. This second race is a little bit longer than the first one, up to 20 laps rather than the 12 we saw in race 1. So a bit more time for the progress. Oh, massive off! And that's third, fourth, and fifth all off the circuit. And that was way too deep on the grids. I think that was Masterson potentially. It went straight into Tony Stack.
Yeah, it looks like it's just too late on the brakes from Masterson, and that's unfortunately knocked them all down. And now here is Masterson still, because McCann is into third place now, with the head across the line to begin lap 4. You can see how much faster Marchenko is, nearly a second quicker than our leader. And now you can see Andrew Hopley up the inside of Masterson as well into 4th place. And now who's going to follow? Candelas is going to try and follow him through as well, as they come down the hill again. And you can just see in the distance as we head down, Dennis Melchert still leading, but he's under some severe pressure from Valentinas Marchenko as they come out a little wiggle from Melchert now. He's got to defend. Now the Germans got to defend, keep Marchenko behind. It's going to be too much dust to keep him behind for 15 laps. Marchenko is so quick, looking so comfortable. Melchert's wide, and it's the opportunity. Marchenko leads in the Digital-Motorsports Cayman Cup now, and he comes through up the inside, and Melchert falls down to second. It's just a mistake from him there and off the road, not quite off the road, but that was enough to give Marchenko the lead. Now we'll see if Melchert can come back down the back straight here in the slipstream, but it looks like they're going to hold on, and looks like something's happened to a further driver further down anyway, but we keep our eye here as Melchert tries to keep with the Marchenko is just too quick. But we got to give a mention. Brian McManus into 5th place. Unbelievable. He started way down in 17th place on the grid. He's into 5th now, and he's one of the quickest guys there. You just see a little move from, I think that's Craig Breen as well. Adam Dowling just passing Pat Master now, who's falling down the order after the incident in the bottom hairpin. We'll see he's going to have a think about it. Going back on the brakes up the inside, getting stopped, and he does. You'll just see just that touch on the exit there as he gets a better run down the front straight to begin lap number 5. But Marchenko is firmly in the lead now. It's going to be hard to stop him dominating out front.
Yeah, I think so. Melchert would do well to finish in on the podium from this position. It could be a fantastic points haul for Melchert if he could finish like this. Tom Ingram doing what Tom Ingram does. Starts way at the back, gains. Well, I was about to use a rude word there, but a lot of places, and he's back up into 12th place now, 30 places gained. Also got Jess Martin up 28 places just behind. But Ingram, usually from this position, then proceeds to drop down somehow. Hopefully he keeps this up and might well get a top 10 to his name today. Meanwhile, we've got this tight battle with Dowling and Breen and Maguire as Dowling, that's Breen moving past, of course, race winner from Silverstone 1 week ago. And could be more good points for Breen. We've got a driver dropping out at the minute. That is Maguire, who will be a tough customer right now for Dowling. But I think Dowling, if anything, might start dropping back from these guys, and it's the clutches of Tom Ingram behind. And now Breen will try to catch up to Masterson, who of course did make that contact earlier on. Wouldn't be surprised if Masterson's got a little bit of area damage from that.
Yeah, indeed. So now we look at Lewis Ward, Arturas Candelas, as he makes his way up through the field. Gavin Culletti, Candelas, that was who I saw go off earlier in the gravel. Arturas Candelas, who was up in like 5th place, is now all the way down in 28th. I saw him briefly just in the gravel in the background of a shot, and he's dropped now all the way down to 28th place. Remember, he was the winner of the Pro-Am class in Heat Race 1, and he's now all the way down. There's a spinner, looks like that is Andro Perto. Now he drops down the field as well, so that's another one bites the dust nearly, as he enters the last chicane, drops it on the brakes by the looks of it, and gets going again, but drops behind O'Shea, and comes out ahead of McCarthy. But it looks like drivers are struggling to get these cars stopped, because it looks like they're very tail happy.
Yeah, that could certainly be the case in that final corner, like you said, right at the top. It's a bit off camber as well as that final corner, so very easy to lose the rear end in a situation like that. The rear kind of goes a bit light, and very easy to over-rotate. Mangan is making his way back up, trying to just recover as many points as he possibly can. This will be for 15th place. As long as he finishes in this place, I think he'd still be in the lead of the championship. But like I said earlier on, the opposition's only chance of winning this title, taking the title off Mangan, is by scoring massive points, finishing only a couple of places behind Mangan when he's on form Mangan. And then when Mangan has an off race, they've got to massively outscore him. That's what they're trying to do, but Mangan's coming back so well at the moment, and he's just onto the back of McMullen now. And dare I say, I don't think he's going to be behind the likes of Breen and McManus by the end of the race, because Mangan is so much quicker than these drivers. At the moment, he is 18 seconds off the lead. I mean, I think he might be within certainly 5 seconds of the lead by the end of this race. He is that quick, is Oscar Mangan, but he does move past McMullen right there.
Exactly. So even though he may remain in the lead of the championship, he's 20 points clear at the moment ahead of McManus. So this is a big one for McManus to gain points. We just look now at Jess Martin, and she and Tom Ingram have nearly been working together. Because Tom Ingram, as he mentioned, doing what Tom Ingram does. He's into 10th place. He's in a fantastic position now, and he's catching. That is Maguire, which is up ahead of him. Maguire making good places as well. So Ingram's made it past Dowling into 9th place, and now Dowling into 10th, Martin into 11th. As now, let's see if Ingram can continue this form as he heads his way through the field. And now he's got a good run on Maguire down the back straight here. Look how much he's nearly pushing as he heads down there. Looks like he was lifting off as he's heading down the straight there. As Maguire into the chicane has to hold on. Dowling now right in this one. But either way, Tom Ingram showing his class here, driving so far up through the field and doing an excellent job.
Yeah, he's really got a knack, hasn't he, for avoiding incidents, at least in this race. Unfortunately, he was involved in an incident in race 1, but there he goes. Down the inside, the door is open for him. Is he going to get quarter panel? Be careful, Tom, because it's only a matter of time. And Maguire continues to drop out, just as we saw earlier on. However, he sticks his car back down the inside into the final corner. Ingram can't really do anything with that run because he gets stopped on the apex. It's costing him crucial seconds at the moment. And of course, you're going to drop him into the likes of Mangan, who I'm sure Ingram would quite like to beat in this race too. But there goes Ingram back down the inside into 1. And there is a very sneaky move, a very lovely move there from Adam Dowling, just to nip through. These two have been working together to move their way up through the order, and that was a very competent move there from Adam Dowling, just to move up into 9th place. Meanwhile, further up, we've got Hopley going round the outside of this one, inside for the next one, and does get past Melcher. Hopley has been phenomenal in this race. He's been able to keep McManus behind him for the entire event, and he's now up into 2nd place.
Yeah, and leading the Pro-Am class, don't forget as well. Marchenko is still out in the lead, but McManus into 4th, and now Harry McGovern, because there was a problem for Peter McCann. He's dropped to 7th, and as a result, that has promoted them all up. And now look at McManus. Can he get past Melcher? Melcher is now having a think about a move on Hopley. Goes late on the brakes. There's almost contact. Hopley leaves the space. McManus trying to get an exit, but he hops over the curb. Not quite going to be able to get it there. But it's crucial points for McManus, trying to gain points on Oscar Mangan, who's just in 11th now. So he's made good progress. Oscar Mangan, a fantastic recovery drive at the moment. If you can get inside the top 10, that'd be great. Great exit. McManus up the hill now to the outside line of the last corner. It's so tricky to go around the outside here. McManus is going to have a go nonetheless. Goes late on the brakes, leaves the space, but again, Melcher has the inside line, has the karting line, not much he can do. But Hopley now has the space, leads Pro-Am. Sergey Graben in 2nd in Pro-Am, and Jess Martin has drove through, and she's on the provisional podium for the Pro-Am class. Now McManus, is he going to have a go? Yes, he does, on the brakes, late on the brakes in turn 1, but Melcher has the outside line. But McManus needs the run now. He needs to do essentially what Hopley did a lap ago, and go around the outside and have the inside line for the bottom of the hill. We've seen this done in TCR. McManus has got the line, but again, Melcher with the inside line. It's so hard to hang it around the outside there. Hopley gains a couple of seconds there now. We're only on lap 9 of 20. Still plenty to go in this race, so there's still a chance. If Andrew Hopley can find some pace to catch Marchenkovas, that's going to be a bit of an ask, because Marchenkovas has driven absolutely brilliantly up to now, and there's not much they can do about that. But McManus really needs to get in as many places as he can, because he is fighting for a championship, and Oscar Mangan is on the verge of 10th place. So any sort of points he can gain would be best, as now he's actually battling with Jess Martin for overall 10th place. So Mangan, remember, was facing the wrong way in turn 1. He dropped that all the way down to 35th, and he's driven back to almost 10th place. I mean, this is really a champions.
So I say down the hill, couldn't quite make it stick, good Mangan, but on that last lap, Mangan was 3 seconds faster than McManus. He's only 9 seconds behind, and we've got so many laps in this feature race. We've still got 11 to go after this one. And he could catch up potentially, so there's a chance that McManus won't even gain any points on him. I don't think that will happen as long as McManus gets past Melcher relatively soon. That shouldn't be a worry, but it does show the pace of Mangan at the moment, as here comes McManus then for the second time, or second or third time, down the inside. Now this is in the exact same situation as we saw on the last lap. McManus has got further ahead this time. Can he have a right to the corner, Melcher, down the hill? No, he kind of has to slot back into single file, so McManus does eventually make that one, but it took him too long, and he's now 1.5 seconds back from Andrew Hopley as well, which will be tricky to catch up. But Martin Covers currently 8 seconds out in the lead, absolute domination at the moment, despite falling as low as 6th place right at the start of the race.
Oh,
it
no.
got sped up. That's Melcher round.
Yeah, Barry Barable into, unfortunately, Dennis Melcher, and they've now become attached to each other. Unfortunately, Barable lost it, and Melcher ended up into him, and now he's got Barry Barable attached to him, heading down the straight.
It's like high contact.
Oh, wow. Unbelievable. Oh, good avoiding action from Jack Byrne as well to get round it as well. But wow, Dennis Melcher, it's so unfortunate. He was on course for a podium, but unfortunately Barry Barable spun in front of him and they became attached. That's the first time I've seen it in a league race. But there you go. Barable straight into it and he gets a collect from behind, and then they became one entity.
Yep, don't question it, guys. That's what would happen in real life.
Exactly.
Oh, fantastic that this is on the esports network as well, really showing off the great damage model. No, I saw this in a Formula 3 race as well, but they were properly merged within each other in the Formula 3 race. So I guess it's something to do with this new damage model. We'll try to take that. So that could be edited out.
Yeah, but now Melcher under pressure. That looks like that is McMullen actually. Yeah, the second McMullen. Trying to come around the outside, Melcher back up the inside. So it's so unfortunate for Melcher, though he's on course for a podium nonetheless. But unfortunately, to no fault of his own, gets caught up in that one. But Marchenkovic still leads. Andrew Hopley in second. McManus now on the podium, by the way. And then it's Graben, McCann, and just as I was about to say McGovern, Tom Ingram into sixth. How about that from Tom Ingram? Great drive so far. And I think he's just made his way past Harry McGovern as he comes through, and yeah, he has indeed. So McGovern and then Mangan in eighth. So Oscar Mangan is right on the back of these guys as well. He's only a second off of Ingram and right on the back of McGovern. So this is fantastic. I think you were right. It could nearly be a top 5 for Oscar Mangan if he keeps going the way he's going.
Yeah. Oh, it's a little bit of a side there for Mangan. He is now, well, he's 21 seconds behind the rest here, so he's still losing time to Martin Curvis because obviously he's having to make his way up through the traffic. Defensive there for Mangan. He was fortunate that the back marker didn't get too involved. We've also got a spinner just behind. That's Melcher. No, it wasn't Melcher, apologies. It was someone else who spun. I think it was a back marker.
James Wingfield, I think.
Yeah, I also saw Melcher simultaneously losing positions, hence my incorrect call. But he's down into 16th place now. Is Dennis Hutter running in the lead for the first portion of the race. But yeah, I want to see Ingram versus Mangan, to be honest. Those two look very quick, two of the quickest drivers out on circuit. Surely there's got to be a little bit of pride for Tom Ingram. He's a very humble guy whenever we chat to him in the interviews. You wouldn't expect that he's a very successful professional driver, but I imagine he'd quite like to keep these Penske sim races behind him, as that's a big incident behind. That was McGovern and Dowling, and I think that was McGovern spinning into the par of Dowling, and they both lost out.
Yeah, McGovern trying to just carefully make his way back on track. Let's see. Oh yeah, that was a little hit in the rear. It was actually a double impact for the car of Adam Dowling. Got into the back of McGovern, and then McGovern lost it, and then he got T-boned again by Dowling. So double trouble for Harry McGovern. A little unfortunate for him. Don't think that was particularly his fault, but he gets going again. No big harm done. He's able to get the car going again, and he drops behind Arturus Candelas. But we saw just there Tom Ingram catching Peter McCann for 5th. And don't forget, this is actually for a 3rd place in the Pro class. So he's on course for a podium in the Pro class, is Tom Ingram, from nearly the back of the grid. So it's just a fabulous display from the BTCC guy. And let's see if he can try and make his way past Peter McCann. And but Marchenkov is still clearly out front. He's got no troubles whatsoever from behind. He's doing a fantastic job.
Ramsey and McMullen are off the circuit. I think we also saw an issue with Dowling. So I think they've all come together down the hill at the penultimate corner. So dropping down the order. Also got, well, there is Ramsey. And surprisingly not a whole lot of damage on that car. So he'll be able to continue on in this race. But yeah, something happened between those lots. Because also got this fast. Stack moving back up into 14th. Remember, he was 2nd place at one point. Hasn't got a rear wing though. Surprisingly, that will probably affect his straight line speed rather than his cornering speed. I'm not quite sure how the new time model factors that in. So probably needs to do some testing on that. DeLucia though, catching up. This is 5th place out of the amateur drivers as Yamantis almost comes past him. Yamantis has had a very frustrating day today after being so strong at Silverstone and getting a top 5 on that occasion. Had a spin in race 1 which just sets him back, and now Yamantis gets overtaken by Kundalis as well, so it drops a place as Mangan also moves up into 2nd place, but this is going to get tasty for 14th.
DeLucia now with a good run on Tony Stack up the inside, late on the brakes, and DeLucia's got that done. Can Candelas follow him through around the outside? Yes, he can. Can Yamantas even get him too? And that's a triple position loss for Tony Stack. No rear wing on the car, so he's trying his best, hanging on for dear life, and he has to hang back for now. But to update, Tom Ingram 5th place, 3rd place in Pro, and Oscar Mangan is into 6th. Now this is the battle we really want. Oscar Mangan, the championship leader, versus Tom Ingram in 5th place. This is going to be fantastic. But at 14 of 20, your leader is still Valentinas Marchenkos for the first time in Digital Motorsports, on course for his 1st ever win. Andrew Hopley leading the Pro-Am class in his 2nd overall. Brian McManus 2nd in Pro. Sergio Grabin 2nd in Pro. Tom McManus having caught Andrew Hopley, but Marchenkos is 8.7 seconds clear out front. Now we look, McManus on Hopley. Is it possible? Is he going to be able to get 2nd place? McManus looking very comfortable. James Wingfield nearly gets himself in the way, but he gets out of the way at the very last second there. Good reactions from Hopley to make his way through, but McManus trying his best here. Gets right up on the bumper as he comes through the hairpin. On the power, nice and early. McManus with a good run. Hopley's got to defend this one now. See if he can get through. He's going to have to move to the outside, but he's done back to the inside. He's just going to wait for the run. He's going to go late on the brakes. Try and sweep around the outside. Try and get the run out of the last corner, and might be able to do this here. He's got a decent run on Hopley. Good stuff from Hopley to get a good run on him though as they head down towards turn 1, but I don't think McManus is quite close enough. He's going to have go late on the brakes if he wants this one. Hopley is going to hold on for that one for now. But good stuff from a twitch from Hopley on the exit though, but heading down the hill for the next time. Can Hopley hold him off? Either way, Hopley doesn't really need to fight this because he's leading Pro-Am anyway, but he still wants that 2nd place overall.
Yeah, and they got Grabin 6 seconds behind though, so they probably can fight and stay ahead as long as they don't start losing 2 seconds a lap. Now Hopley does actually gap McManus slightly. To be fair, I think as long as Hopley doesn't make a mistake, he should be alright against McManus. It's tricky to overtake around this pace, and remember, McManus had plenty of laps earlier on in the race to overtake, and yet couldn't do it. And usually as the race gets longer and longer, it gets easier and easier to defend. So here we are, Ingram versus Mangan. Here comes Mangan down the inside. Is there an opportunity to if Oscar will treat Tom any differently to a normal rival? Here he comes out of the corner down the back straight. Is there much defence put up by Ingram? Just nipping down the inside there is Mangan. He's got the inside into the chicane. This should be enough for him. Ingram doesn't put up much of a fight. Now tries to come back but gets stopped on the apex. And well, that was a little bit short-lived. Mangan does move up though into 5th place overall.
5th place overall and back on the podium for Oscar Mangan. So minimising the points loss to Brian McManus. And it'd be interesting to see if he can actually catch McManus because he's still battling with Hopley. He's 10 seconds back from this battle, so he's going to be maybe a little bit too much of an ask, unless you guys have an instant. But McManus is really struggling here to get past Hopley. He's putting up a great defensive drive, and they're losing a second a lap to Marchenkovic up ahead. So good stuff from them. And now Sergey Grabin hanging on in there in 4th place. McManus now has got to try and make his way through. Because either way, now that a mistake from Hopley, that's exactly what he needed. Heading up the hill for the 16th time, he's got the outside line. Hopley defends it. He's found some space. He has to back out there. Hopley goes a little bit deep there, trying to hold the karting line on the inside, try and get the cutback on the way out. He's found space on the outside. A twitch from Hopley again. Up the hill they come. Let's see if he can go around the outside. Hopley's late on the brakes again now with the cutback. McManus over and under, but not quite, because Hopley runs him out a little bit wide. And Hopley just about holds on once again. But can McManus do it again down into the chicane? I don't think he's quite close enough. He's going to try and get in the slipstream and go late on the brakes again. But no, Hopley defends it for all his life. And coming through the chicane, he's just done enough once again. And he holds off another massive attack from Brian McManus.
Yeah, that was superb from Hopley there. He was really aggressive going into the right-hander at the top of the hill. Went in very deep on the brakes, very much, I will do everything to stay ahead of you. Which kind of shows his attitude right now. He's desperate for the second place, even though he would keep the Pro-Am win. Oh, he gets a tap there from McManus. They're not losing much time to Grabin though. Grabin's only catching by maybe half a second to a second a lap, which isn't nearly enough with only 4 laps remaining in this race. So he should be, these two should be alright. And McManus just wants that second place. I'm not quite sure how the points work in this. Is it completely divided by the classes, or do you still get points for, say, 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th overall, or do you get points for 1st, 2nd, 3rd in your class?
I believe the points are put together in the same championship, but there is obviously the overall championship and the Pro-Am championship, so they'll be totally separate, but still there is a battle for overall championship, so that's probably what he's thinking about here. Now, just to kind of update as well, in that lap alone, Oscar Mangan took 3 seconds out of these guys. He's flying in 5th place. And now he's in with a shot of catching Sergey Grabin. He's about 2 seconds behind Grabin at the moment. See, the gap was 10 seconds last lap. It's now down to about 7. Here is Sergey, always thereabouts. Sergey. There's the gap loss. You can see how massive loss. 1.6 seconds on that lap alone, as Mangan was he's the only guy still in the 34s. Lapping in the 34s as we're about to head into lap number 18 of 20. So there is still an outside chance of Oscar Mangan grabbing 4th overall, and depending on how the battle between Hopley and McManus goes, he still could potentially grab a 2nd, but we know the win is absolutely out of the question because the man who's dominated for the entire thing is Marchenkovic. But now, spinner up ahead, that is Murray. And now McManus still stuck behind Andrew Hopley, who's defending brilliantly in this battle for the overall championship. Heading into turn 1, does Hopley go wide? No, he doesn't. No mistakes. McManus with the exit. You can see the lap times. Look, 134.6 for Oscar Mangan versus a 136.1 for Grabin. So the gap now is down to about 1.4, nearly 1 second between Grabin and Mangan. There's a real chance of Mangan getting a 4th place here, but a big understeer from McManus there. And I actually don't know if he's going to be able to get past Hopley here.
No, well, it's running out. Certainly the chances are on Hopley to keep this position. By the way, issue for Adrian Campfield in the last few minutes. He's back down into 20th place, remarkably down 1 place after finishing in 2nd in race 1. So not going to score many points today is Campfield. But no, it's looking very good right now for Hopley, the British driver. And Mangan's onto the back of Grabin. Dare I say this should be easy? I wouldn't usually say that, driver catching up with a couple of laps to go. But Mangan's been ever so quick, particularly in recent laps. He just seems to get faster and faster as the race goes on. There's absolutely no drop off from Mangan whatsoever. He's consistently lapping in the 30 spots the last lap. I believe was his fastest lap, however. He did pick up a 1x during it, so it won't be put down as a purple lap. Grabin already going a bit defensive because defending fresh air into the penultimate corner. And he's once again defending, but probably rightly so, into the final corners. They're about to start their 19th lap of this race. And Grabin holds on the first attack, and it should be safe for the next half lap or so. This has got to be a perfect final few miles for him though to keep this position.
Yeah, lap 19 of 20 in the second round of the Digital-Motorsports Porsche Cayman Cup. And Oscar Mangan, he's on the podium in Pro anyway, but for the overall standings, he wants to try and get past Sergey Grabin here. Sergey is not an easy man to pass. They've got a lapped car of Evan Naylor to deal with, and he does get past there easily enough into the bottom, into the old hairpin, heading on the way out. Mangan now has another opportunity, but he's running out of here. He is running out of opportunities. Now right on the bumper of Sergey up the hill. Sergey defends the inside as he's entitled to do, but now Mangan with so much overspeed, but good defense from Sergey. But now he's found the line on the outside and gets the overspeed. Lovely stuff from Oscar Mangan, but Sergey still sticks his nose in there, gets back up the inside, but does Mangan have the run on the outside? I don't quite think he's got enough to get ahead of Sergey, but he will have the inside line for the chicane. Good defensive driving from Sergey so far. Now into the chicane. Is Mangan going to go late on the brakes? Sergey's going to leave him the room. Mangan goes deep and holds on. Lovely stuff from Oscar Mangan into 4th overall. Remember, he was in the gravel trap on lap 1, back down in 30th place and driven back to 4th. And I don't think he's going to be able to quite catch up to McManus because they're heading on to the final lap in this feature race. And a man who's had absolutely no problems out front is Valentinas Marchenkovas. An unlikely leader, I must say, but he's done a fantastic job so far. And he's on course for that all-important first ever win in the championship.
Yeah, it's been awesome from Marchenkovas. Also, that move from Mang, absolutely superb. Smart driving as well from Mang, because we saw Grabin go for a bit of an over-optimistic move once to get up the hill. But Mang was smart enough. He left a little bit of room. He knew that there's no point in making contact, no point in being stubborn. So he gave a little bit of room, and he made the mistake anyway. So looking very good for him. Hopley now, he's just ahead of McManus. We might have to go back to this, because here comes McManus. He wasn't quite close enough, but there was half a tenth of a second between them, so they were marginally alongside for a moment. Hopley, does he go defensive here? He's left the door open, and McManus is going to try to take advantage of that. Hopley cuts the line off slightly, and now he will go all defensive into these 3 remaining corners of this 20-lap race.
McManus is so close for this second place. He looks to the outside. Hopley defends it. McManus very late on the brakes, not able to quite do it though. As they head through the last chicane, there's one more opportunity for McManus, but he's not close enough, I don't think, to try this. He's too far back. Hopley's going to hold on, but out in the lead on lap number 20 for the first time in the Digital Motorsports Championship through the last corner. It's always an emotional time, but coming across the line, Valentinas Marchenkovas for the very first time in Digital Motorsports wins in the Porsche Cayman Cup. Let's see, is Andrew Hopley going to hold on versus Brian McManus? I think he does. Brilliant defense from Andrew Hopley, wins the Pro-Am class, 2nd place overall. McManus tried everything 3rd, but drive of the day, Oscar Mangan back to 4th place, 3rd in the Pro class, absolutely brilliant, and the fastest lap to add on top of it in the final lap. Sergey Grabin 2nd in the Pro-Am class, Tom Ingram as well, fantastic job in 6th place. Jess Martin is on the podium for the Pro-Am class, Peter McCann and then Maguire in the Am class in 9th place. Coming across the line, Wayne Douglas just hold off Arturus Candelas, Rob Moore, Jack Byrne, Pasquale De Lucia. Then it'll be Tony Stack, Roy O'Shea, then Arias Imantis, McMullen, Pertot, Adrian Campbell and Jordan Kelly have had terrible days. Then McCarthy, Jean Montero and Roland Hederman all the way down in 24th. But it's always a special time for when a driver secures their first win. And Marchenkovas, I mean, we saw how quick he was. And we're just looking now at the last battle here, because Hederman and Montero are still battling for position here. See if Montero can hold on to this one. In the last corner. Hederman going to have a think about it. I think Montero should just have it very close as they come through the last corner. But Montero should just about have this one, and he does indeed. But we saw how quickly how Marchenkovas was. But it's always a special time getting a win in the championship, especially one with the caliber of drivers that we have here as well.
Yeah, that was a mighty effort from Marchenkovas to win out there. And yeah, like I said at the start, I mean, he dropped down to 6th place earlier on. He got a slow down. It wasn't the start that he needed, but then he managed to get his way back up to the top nice and quick. Overtook Hopley. Did he overtake Hopley? I'm not sure, but the drivers he did overtake. he got past very quick, and that's what made the race for him. And even whilst Hopley going to second place, I think Valentinus was still pulling away out to the lead. So absolutely mighty effort and a well-deserved win for third.
Indeed. So here are the official results of the feature race here. Valentinus Marchenkovas for the very first time wins by a margin of 10 seconds over Andrew Hopley, who is your Pro-Am class winner. Brian McManus in third place. Oscar Mangan drives back from a disastrous lap 1 to 4th. Sergio Graham second. Sergio Graham in second in the Pro-Am, 5th overall. Tom Ingram 6th. Jess Martin in 7th. Peter McCann, Dave McGuire and Wayne Douglas in 10th place. Then Arturus Condelis, Rob Moore, Jack Byrne, Pasquale De Lucia, Tony Stack, Rory O'Shea, Arias Simantis, John A. McMullen in 18th place. Then further down, Andrew Perto, Adrian Campfield, Jordan Kelly, Michael McCarthy, Jean Montero, Ronan Hederman, Thomas Series, Dennis Melcher, who we saw get attached to Barry Barrable earlier on, Harry McGovern, Rob O'Neill in 28th, and then Mark Burney, Dave Collier, Gavin Cullity, Pat Masterson, Liam Atkins, Evan Naylor, James Wingfield, Adam Dowling, Simon Ramsire, Keith Rabbit, and all the non-finishers: Damien McMullen, Barry Barrable, Kyle Stevens, Willie Pigeon, Paulo Bremick, Craig Breen, and a disconnect, I think, Ian Malone, Dear Matumi, Lewis Ward in 40th, and Nathan Healy. Non-starters, I think, those guys. So, unfortunate, but Marchenkovas was the man of the hour, and Oscar Mangan again showing his class and getting himself back to the podium in the pro class, and an excellent job from him. So, I'm not quite sure who to give the driver of the day to, but we'll have some time to think about that, because I think we've got someone waiting for us in the interview room, and I believe it is Tom Ingram waiting to talk to us. I'm sure he's going to be really happy. Tom Ingram, thanks for joining us in the commentary box. Another drive from the back. You seem to like doing this, coming from the back of the grid and driving through to a great position. Well done. Again, no one really wants to talk to us by the looks of it.
We're absolutely horrible people, aren't we, clearly?
This has happened so many times. You've no idea. So we'll see if we can grab anybody else. I don't think anybody else is waiting for us. So
I would say that. I mean, any drivers who are watching back the stream, I'm sure you all are, because I'm sure you love the sound of our voices. And you know, even if you do finish a little bit further down, have a chat with us. Maybe you won't always get a chat with us, because we might have an influx of drivers who maybe finish a little bit above you. But the majority of the time, we will be able to have a chat with you. And it's really nice to, you know, have a talk with all the drivers, and it allows us to get to know you a little bit better. So certainly do that, and for the future rounds of the championship.
Yep. We'll have a check again, and just to confirm, I just had a quick. There is no points split in the classes. So it isn't an overall championship. So we'll try Tom Ingram again. Let's have a go. Tom Ingram, have you got us?
I've got you. I've realised I've changed how I work it. I have to put it on a button now, so I'd confuse myself.
No worries. But yeah, fantastic job, Ian. You seem to like doing this, starting from the back and driving your way through. So good results, and 4th place in the pro class.
Yeah, really pleased actually. I mean, 42nd through to 6th. Like I say, it's a great result, but if we had half a chance at a good first one result, I'd stand a chance at maybe getting an even better second. But yeah, huge amounts of fun. Great fun coming back through the pack, but like you said, a bit frustrating that we had to do it from so far back.
Yeah, by the looks of it as well, there was plenty of chaos on lap 1. So how was it trying to side your way through all that?
No, there was no chaos. That was me doing all of those overtakes. It was first. Again, I've been watching the replay back. Yeah, we lost about 10-15 cars on the first lap, so that definitely made my life easier. But once I started to get through, it was quite nice to start racing again and be actually able to think about getting some moves made and going in deep and squaring them back and setting a dummy up and things like that, which is huge amounts of fun.
Yeah, and obviously these cars are obviously very different to the TCR Championship. So how has it been adapting to a GT style car?
hugely different actually. I'm very, very surprised. The TCR car took me quite a long time to get my head around how to drive it as well. So that took a little bit of learning. So I just about learned how to drive those, and now I've been thrown into these trying to work out how these work. So the thing you notice a lot is with them being a lot heavier, you get a real moment of inertia. So you'll see a lot of us having really bizarre spins in really obscure places. Like as we come out of Coppets, the car's loose as anything through there, and at the top sort of Hollywood before we get to the Craners. So there's bits that catch you out. So you've got to be on it all the time. You've really got to have your senses about you, because if you don't, the second you lose concentration, you're having an off. They're tricky little things.
Interesting analysis there. We saw plenty of guys losing it at the last hairpin, but yeah, I'll pass you on to Sam now, see if he's got anything for you.
Yeah, I was just wondering, Tom. I mean, how do you find it kind of learning these circuits that you got plenty of real world experience on? Do you find these circuits a lot easier on sim racing compared to the ones that perhaps you haven't visited in real life before?
You know what? It's really, really good coming to a circuit that I actually know, because first I've got no excuses to say, well, I didn't know the circuit. A bit of an upper hand when it comes to that. And you know what? The racing is the racing. It's the same no matter if I'm in British touring cars, if we're in GTs, whatever we're doing, we're on the same circuit that I know. And there's a lot of little tricks you can use when you know it very well, and just position your car and just put your nose in to push people out, to push people in and things like that. So I think having a bit of real world experience definitely helps. Certainly helps when we're starting on East Midlands Airport runway to come through.
Absolutely. And then next week we are heading to Brands Hatch, another circuit you know pretty well. Is that one that you particularly enjoy? What are you expecting from that race?
Yeah, you know what? I'm looking forward to them all. There's none of them that I'm not looking forward to. So I'm quite lucky in that respect that I like all the UK circuits that we're very lucky to visit. So yeah, again, it's a circuit I've obviously got a lot of real world experience at, so that will help. But at the same time, I've a bit to find. My sort of qualifying pace was miles off what it should have been. I was sort of doing high 35, so I've realistically got another 3/4 of a second that I need to find in my own driving to get the best out of qualifying. And if I can get a good qualifying, naturally that's going to put me in better stead for the first race as well.
Definitely. And I mean, for qualifying, I mean, you say that you're lacking quite a bit of time. There's a few kind of nuances on iRacing, like how to treat the tires on that lap, and a couple of other things that perhaps. Do you feel like you've nailed all those nuances? Do you think you know the cars perfectly now, or do you think it is down to kind of just driving standard at the moment, why you're lacking a little bit of time?
Sam, feel free to let me know how I can go quicker, because I am absolutely scratching my head. I feel like I've nailed the absolute lap of my life to find myself 3/4 of a second off the pace, scratching my head as to where the time is. So any advice anyone's got, please send it over to me.
We've all had that, and usually it's more than 3/4 of a second, to be honest. So you're in the fortunate position, to be honest. Thanks for having a chat with us, Tom. Is there anyone you'd like to thank before we say goodbye?
No, big thanks to you guys. You do a fantastic job. I always go back and watch the coverage back, and you always do a fantastic job. So big thank you to all you guys that are putting the hard work in. Of course, the NAL for organising such a fantastic event, and for everyone that's on my social media supporting me. A big thanks to all of those. And I've got to say a big shout out to my mum and dad who watch this religiously. It's their weekly entertainment, and they'll be huddled around the iPad currently watching this. So a big shout out to them.
Awesome. I feel like we could almost hear them screaming as you were making all those overtakes. So congratulations, and hope to see you next week.
Brilliant. Thanks so much, guys. Have a good night. See you later on.
What a lovely guy Tom Ingram is, hey?
It really is. Very down to earth.
Yeah, but I think he and out of all the drivers, he was the only one who came to talk to us. How about that? But yeah, it's interesting to hear the thoughts on that it wasn't just tire temperature, that the drivers are really struggling with how the cars are breaking away in the hairpins, especially. You've seen him talking about it, that the cars are breaking away in unusual places and spinning. So obviously that's something they've got to get used to. So that obviously the TCRs were squirrely enough, but it seems like these have something a little bit more that they need to get used to. They obviously seem to move around a lot more on the brakes.
Yeah, they certainly seem to be such tricky cars. I'm not quite sure what the settings are because I'm just looking at the garage settings at the moment, and there's a big option that whenever I've driven these cars, and I'm always a bit scared to use it, but it's the ABS, traction control, and stability control setting, and they're all rolled into a single number, and that ranges from 1 to 9, I believe. I'm not sure what setting they're currently running it on, but when it's on 9, it is the easiest car to drive in the world, this. I wouldn't be surprised if it's a lot closer to 1, though, for these drives. And that's where the pace is, of course, when you turn off those assists a little bit more. And I mean, I imagine that is what's going on and why the cars are getting a little bit squirrely. So, no, it's a really tricky time for the Jazz. Of course, still the start of the season. There's barely any turnaround from last season in the TCR car to this season, so they're still very much learning it. A lot of these drivers will have had only a few hours of experience in this car, so I expect them to become stronger as the rounds progress. But of course, yeah, next week we're heading to Brands Hatch. That will be the full circuit, and if this place is difficult to overtake, I mean that place is going to be even more difficult to overtake. But at least they'll be a little bit more experienced, I imagine, for the drivers. Everyone knows that place. It is used a lot in iRacing, and no, should be a very fun round for round 3 of the series.
Yeah, it was brilliant last season in the TCR Championship. There's plenty of action, so obviously you've got there's not, as you said, there's not a lot of overtaking opportunities. Essentially, your one chance is into Druids, essentially sticking up the inside there. If you want to be brave, you want to try it later on in the lap, go ahead. But yeah, that's going to be a very different challenge for the drivers. But it's, as we mentioned, it is an all UK circuit championship. So Donington, Brands Hatch, Snetterton, we're all heading to all those places. So that we haven't got anybody else sitting waiting to talk to us. So the driver's been very antisocial today. So we will, I think, end off there. So that has been the Digital-Motorsports.com Porsche Cayman Cup in association with Porsche Centre Dublin. So we hope to see you at the same time next week as we head to Brands Hatch to decide to see if the championship is going to get any closer. Oscar Mangan looks like the man to beat. Is he going to continue his form into next week? Let's find out. My name has been Jack Canan. Sam Fitzpatrick joining me in the commentary box, and Samuel Ikumo working hard on the cameras. Thank you all for watching. We'll see you at the same time next week on the Irish and Esports Network, and the broadcast brought to you by Apex Racing TV. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next week. Good night.